praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahshua, Bashem, Rakakodah, Shalom to the 144,000, the rest of you elect out there, Shalom to you all. I'm going to entitle this video, If It Tarry. If it tarry, that's from Habakkuk 2. As a matter of fact, I'll go to it and I'll read it in the King James, the NLT, and possibly the BBE and the Amplified. And we're all familiar with this. If you're wondering whether the prophecy is going to come to pass, how long before the Lord comes, I haven't seen no signs. Well, you're not looking, because your eyes are not open, because you're not of the elect. You don't have that oil. You don't have that eye salve. Okay, Habakkuk 2. Going to the King James first. I'm going to go right to the point. Third verse, Habakkuk 2 verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end, Esau is the end of the world, it shall speak and not lie. What shall speak? The prophecies. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Though it tarry, right? Wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So let's go to the NLT. The vision, Habakkuk 2 verse 3 in the NLT. This vision is for a future time. We're in that time. The future is now. It describes the end. End of who? End of Esau. And it will be fulfilled. If it seems slow to coming, wait patiently, for it will surely take place. It will not be delayed. We're in the time right now. We strongly believe Nero 47 is the last emperor. He said he would come back. Before he killed himself and committed suicide, he said, you're going to lose a great artist. And he said, I will be back. And he came back. He's here. Nero is here. No other camp teaches that except for the GMS. So we're at the BB Bible in Basic English. Third verse, for the vision is still for the fixed time, and it is moving quickly to the end, and it will not be false, even if it is slow in coming. Go on waiting for it, because it will certainly come. It will not be kept back. We're in the time right now. Silver has hit $50 per ounce. Gold, if it didn't hit, it's less than $100 before gold hits 4,000. Silver is at $48, and I believe it already hit 50. Let me go ahead and find out. You go to the charts. Okay, this is gold. Right now it's, where the hell? Give me a second here. Okay, bear me for a minute, y'all. Okay, right now it's October 10th, October 9th, going into October 10th. In less than 2 hours, it'll be October 10th. So it says here, I'm sorry, it's right here at 3,983. So we're talking $17 before it hit 4,000. Never hit 4,000 in the history of the United States. Never hit 4,000. Now let's go to the silver. This is silver. Right now it's $48.08. So that's 48. So that's $2 shy of $50. And silver hit $50 in the past. Let me see if I can open this up. Give me a second. I might have to open this chart all the way up to go back in years. Okay, let me go back 10 years. Back in what is this, 2015, it was $15, almost $16. Now it's at $2, less than $2 shy of $50. The last time it was $50, I believe, was in the 80s. I told y'all to get in that silver and gold if you can. So let's come on back. For the vision is still for the fixed time, and it is moving quickly to the end. Whose end? Esau's end. And it will not be false. See, these prophecies are coming back to back. Coming back to back. Even if it is slow in coming, go on waiting for it, because it will certainly come. It will not be kept back. What's certainly going to come? The MOTB. That's the next big major prophecy that's going to come to pass. And when that comes to pass, you know we're months away from the kingdom, the destruction, the deliverance, and the kingdom of heaven. Now let me go to the Amplified. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Amplified Bible. Nero 47 just totally tore up the Constitution. We're not, what is it? The Insurrection Act is a backdoor to override the Posse Comitatus Act, which basically is martial law. Martial law. Martial law is here. It's going to get worse. This is Amplified, Habakkuk 2 verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed future time, which we're in the future, as you can say. It hurries toward the goal of fulfillment. Prophecies have to be fulfilled. So all the prophecies of the prophets of old, all the prophecies that they had, they're all coming to pass. Especially the end time prophecies. Daniel 2, Daniel 7, Daniel 12, Daniel 9 took place already. Daniel 11 took place already. Daniel 8 took place already. Jeremiah 49, Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51, Isaiah 34, Isaiah 14, Isaiah 13, Isaiah 66, Obadiah, Amos, Revelation, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Matthew 24, Luke 21, Mark 13, Joel 2, Joel 1, Joel 3, Isaiah 14, I said, Malachi 4, verse 1, behold, the day will come that shall burn as an oven. That's the missiles. Matthew chapter 13, 38 on down. They're going to be bound. The angels are going to take the tares, bound them in a bundle, and cast them in the oven. They don't know the prophecies like the Israelites, especially Great Millstone. We specialize in prophecies. Third verse, for the vision is yet for the appointed future time. It hurries toward the goal of fulfillment. Prophecies are being fulfilled in our lifetime. The MOTB is a prophecy that will be fulfilled in the very near future. We're counting down to months. It will not fail. Even though it delays, wait patiently for it, because it will certainly come. It will not delay. So they're going to cut off your rights to, let's go right here. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. I hadn't seen this video. I saw it about this much. Put up by GMS Inquirer, early 2.
We've made it.
Let me do this. Let me slow it down. Let me slow it down. This is fair use, fair use, fair use. Let me bring it back. So he just tore up the Constitution. Martial law is the suspension of the Constitution. You have military law. That's why it's called martial law. You have a whole set of laws, and then under martial law, you get put to death. You don't go, well, you go before a judge, you get a warrant, you come back on a date, you have your witnesses. No, in martial law, you get summarily put to death. You get put to death on the spot. So all hell's gonna break loose. It's breaking loose all over the planet Earth, and it's breaking loose in America.
We've made it 1-year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away because
inciting riots means to speak, to get people riled up to riot. That the word is sedition. Sedition is when you rile up a crowd to burn down a building or something, or kill somebody, or attack people, or riot. They go after the guy that he said, well, I didn't do nothing. I didn't have a gun in my hand. Yeah, but you riled them up. So he's officially suspended the First Amendment, or certain parts of it. But once take away from it, it's gone.
We've made it 1-year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away.
So if you say something that makes somebody do something crazy, because you said it, you riled that dude up, you get 1 year in jail.
Because that's been through the courts, and the court said you have freedom of speech, but what has happened?
That's the thing, but you have freedom of speech, but what has happened
is when they burn a flag, it agitates and...
Well, don't burn no flags. You brothers out there, don't burn. If you're going to do anything, don't burn no flags. Because somebody see you burn a flag, they're gonna riot. Goes into your freedom of expression.
Irritates crowds. They've never seen anything like it on both sides, and you end up with riots. So we're going on that basis. We're looking at it not from the freedom of speech, which I always felt strongly about, but never passed the courts. This is what they do, is they incite. When you burn an American flag, you incite tremendous violence. We have many examples of it, many examples of it, and it's actually down on tape, and you see things happen that we've made it 1-year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away because that's been through the courts, and the courts said you have freedom of speech. But what has happened is when they burn a flag, it agitates and irritates crowds. They've never seen anything like it on both sides, and you end up with riots. So we're going on that basis. We're looking at it not from the freedom of speech, which I always felt strongly about, but never passed the courts. This is what they do, is they incite. When you burn an American flag, you incite tremendous violence. We have many examples of it, many examples of it, and it's actually down on tape, and you see things happen.
Signed an executive order claiming that only the president can speak for what the law is. This is not how the Constitution works, but this is the view of the Trump administration.
That's why in Isaiah 14 it refers to him as the king of Babylon. He's a king now. Presidents can't make you shut up and, not exercise your First Amendment right, but a king can. The Constitution is in the garbage. Now we're dealing with martial law.
And who's going to stop them? That's my question.
Lastly, we have another executive order that President Trump signed relating to independent agencies. This executive order would establish important oversight functions in the Office of Management and Budget and its subsidiary office, OIRA, supervising independent agencies and many.
Oh, they declared Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. They're going to classify every organization that's against religious or whatever, especially the Israelites. We will be classified as terrorists.
Of their actions, and also reestablishes the long-standing norm that only the president or the attorney general can speak for the United States when stating an opinion as to what the law is.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Will.
And the Jays are behind all of this. This man is just a front man. He's a Philip Green. If you watch the movie Casino, starring Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro, about the casinos in Las Vegas the mob ruled over. They had a front man, I believe he was the CEO, president or whatever. His name was Philip Green, played by, I believe his name was Kevin Pollak. He was a comedian. And in the movie they were saying this guy doesn't know his ass from shit from Shinola. He's just a front man. He don't know what the fuck's going on. Because the mob was running everything behind the scenes. So this guy is Philip Green.
That is not how the law works. That is not how the Constitution works. That is not how separations of powers work. That's not how anything.
Cruel Lord. Isaiah 19, the cruel Lord. This is the cruel Lord. Barack Hussein Obama was not the cruel Lord. Joe Biden was not the cruel Lord. Carter was not the cruel Lord. This is the cruel Lord. Unless they have somebody worse than him in the wings. We in that time, y'all. Like I said, I've been saying recently, you guys that have recently fell off through the years, you're going to get caught up in this mess. And you're going to comply, and you're going to take that chip.
Everything works. But unless someone can stop them, then what can we do?
Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father Yahweh. Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Bakakwadash. Double honors to the men that taught us His true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, being our apostles and our elders.
When you teach this truth and you're dealing with somebody knows what is this Hebrew Israelite thing all about in a nutshell. Well, first off, you can go, if you want to find out what's up with GMS, go to GPT. What is GMS stance on the 12 tribes? What is GMS stance on Edomites? What is GMS stance on whatever? And chat will give you the answer. GMS Hebrew Israelite. They'll say GMS, and then they'll say, you put in GMS or GMS Israelites, they'll say GMS Great Millstone Israelites teach this, that, and the third. You might put in what's IUIC's take on such and such and so on. So they say IUIC Israel United in Christ teaches this, that, and the third. ISUPK, go to chat. ISUPK, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, teaches this. They're similar to GMS, but they're different when it comes to this, that, and the third. So it's there. So when we talk to you and we give you this thing in a nutshell, what are we telling you? We're telling you that we the Israelites in the scriptures, this is the last captivity that we're in. When you go to the scriptures, the end of the world, we're in the end of the world. It said we come over here in cargo slave ships, Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to go into slavery. We're going to have yokes put around our necks. We're going to work the field. People, other nations will lend to us. We shall not lend to them. Then it gives you what the Israelites look like, what the Most High looks like, what the Messiah looks like. What Moses looked like. Moses put his hand in his bosom and came out white. He put it back in, it came to his natural flesh. If it turned white, what color was his natural color? He had to be a man of color, brown skin. Same thing with Miriam, Moses' older sister. She was older than Moses and Aaron, and a woman came against the man of the Lord, the friend of the Most High, Moses. And the Most High said, look, when I deal with when the prophets, I deal with them through dreams and parables and stuff and visions. But when I deal with Moses, I deal with him face to face. In other words, he don't give him no vision where he got to figure it out. The Most High just says, you going to do this? He said, look, I'm going to make you a God before Pharaoh, and your prophet, and Aaron, your brother, will be your prophet. He'll be the middleman to speak for you, because he said he's not a great, well speaker. Most High ain't always dealing with the most dramatical speaker out there. But what did he do to Miriam? Turned her into a white, and behold, the cloud came off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. She turned to a white person. And she was put out in the wilderness, outside the camp for 7 days, and she came back in a normal flesh. So what color had she had to be? A woman of color, brown, pigment, leprosy. This man lacks pigment. He's an Edomite. This is what Edomites look like. So you tell them all that. You tell them that the Lord, why did Jesus come? The Lord, Yahushai, say that's, first of all, that's not his name. His real name is Yahushai. Heavenly Father's name is Yahweh. He came for the Israelite, but he's not saving the whole nation. He's only coming for the elect. If you're part of the elect, you're going to come into this and you're going to grow. If you're not a part of the elect, you're going to get caught up in this mess, and you're going to take a chip. And if you remain here in America, you're going to die here in America, either by race riots, you're going to starve to death, or you're going to get hit with missiles. Because that's how this place is going down. And they watch us too. They're going to shut us down for saying, Trump is going to shut us down for saying, you guys are getting locked up for teaching that this place is going to be destroyed by missiles. We're telling you what the prophecies say. We're telling you what the scriptures say. You say you're a Christian. And very few Christians will say that Babylon is the U.S. You know why? Because they live here. For them to admit it, that means they're going to be destroyed, or they got to get the fuck up out of here. They're going to have to get the hell out of Dodge. It's coming down, man. And in less than 3 months, 2 months and change, we'll be in 2026, and everything's going to get, Most High going to turn that faucet. Hopefully he turned the faucet all the way. You know when you take the tub and you kind of you turn the faucet on low, but then you put it on, you hear that rush. You know, you want to fill up that tub or a bucket or something. You hit that motherfucker full force. Pray Yahweh B'Hashem Yahshai, he hit 2006 full force. Like a flood. A torrent, they call it. Right, out of his what is that, St. John 7:38? If I'm not mistaken, I'm positive it's 7:38. It says, he, in not too many words, he that believe in the Most High is of the elect. Doesn't say the elect, but he believe in the Most High. Out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. That water represents his truth. It's said, and when you look up the word flow, rivers of living water, one of the words that come up is the word torrent, which is a flood. Meaning this truth is supposed to flood out of you, not drip. The Most High is not dealing with bellies that drip. He's dealing with bellies that flood. See, I quoted a lot of scriptures, but I'm not going to go into all of them. We know these scriptures. I mentioned a lot of scriptures. Prophetic scriptures. I didn't even mention all the prophetic scriptures.
Of the Church of Great Millstone, all right, who are ruling well. Not forgetting our bishops that are in Connecticut, all right, who are worthy of double honor as well. And shalom, peace and love to the hopeful elect, all right, the 144,000 and the rest of you believers that are out there that are listening and learning. You know, no more freedom of speech, all right, according to the statement that was made by Trump, you know, which, all right, this devil is very cunning, all right, and they will cause something to happen, all right, just so that they can issue a new law or a new decree, all right, which is an unrighteous decree, all right, but it's through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, all right, in which he calls himself stripping away, all right, the freedom of speech, all right, because protesters are burning flags and, you know, et cetera, all right, which at the end of the day really has nothing to do, you know, with these protesters, all right, because everything happens, all right, by the will of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. And the whole reason of freedom of speech, all right, being created to begin with, all right, they say that freedom of speech was created to serve a democracy, all right, enabling citizens to openly discuss ideas, hold government accountable, and pursue truth, which was seen as essential, all right, for self-governance. All right, the founders understood free speech as crucial for discovering the best, all right, ideas through debate.
Yeah, because they didn't have free speech in England. Where you from? England? Inside joke. So when they made that, the First Amendment is the very first amendment is right of assembly, right to redress grievances with the government, and the right of the press. Press is free. The press exists because of free speech, right? And then you have free speech as a person to criticize the government, right? You can't say, well, this thing in Israel, the Gaza situation, they took away people's free speech. If you were not born here and you were an exchange student or you came to the States to go to school, they kick you out of the school, the university, they kick you back in your country or lock your ass up. So it started with people. So when you have people from other states speak their mind, you get to go back to your country. You get deported. This shit is going to happen, brother. It's happening. What do you mean? What am I talking about? Shit is going to happen. It's happening, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it gets worse.
checking government power, fostering a spirit of individual liberty, and fulfillment of allowing people to express their fundamental beliefs, all right, and identities. So that's the face value, of why freedom of speech was created. All right, it also mentions public debate. All right, to foster democracy and self-government. All right, public debate, free speech allows for open discussions. All right, and deliberations of different viewpoints, which is crucial for informed decision making. All right, in a democratic society. All right, which this isn't a democratic society. It's not a democracy. All right, and Apostle Tahar just recently spoke on that in one of his videos. Now, when it mentions public debates, the first thing that comes to mind is the Agora, and I believe that's Acts, the 17th chapter, where they were
The web is the Agora. All these videos, we in the Agora. Anytime we go on the web, we in the Agora.
Standing in the Agora, he was, the Apostle Paul was amongst the Epicureans, all right, and the Stoics, all right. I believe it's called Areopagus.
Yeah, Mars Peak. Mars Peak. The Agora is the marketplace. There's a movie called The Agora. It deals with that time period where they had the debates. You had court. That's why you can go to any court. You can go when OJ was on trial. If you had a room to get up in there, you can freely go up in there and pay you because that's to the public. That's to the public.
All right, Acts 17 and 19. All right, and they took him and brought him unto Areopagus. All right, saying, all right, may we know this new doctrine. All right, whereof thou.
That's those you Jakes, conscious Jakes, back to Africa Jakes. These Christian Jakes, atheist Jakes, all these different Jakes. They snapped on Paul. They said, what does this babbler got to say? To not so many words. And they knew, in those men of Athens, you got idiots that say, oh, it says Paul spoke to white people because he was speaking to the men of Athens. And the people of Athens, Greek were white people. No, they were not. The original people of Europe, that Greece and all those areas, Asia Minor, those are sons of Japhet. They even show you that in an episode of the Flintstones. If you watch the Flintstones, that was supposed to be Esau in the caves. So that had to be somewhere around between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. That's where the Flintstones were living. So that goes back to the Stone Ages, right? And if you notice, Flintstones, there was no so-called Negroes in the Flintstones because the Negroes wasn't living up in the caves. But there was one episode where they met somebody named Friday, and he was a Japhet, and they made him look like he was dark-skinned, like a savage, and his name was Friday, if I'm not mistaken, and he had somewhat like straight hair, and Fred Flintstone and Bonnie called him Friday. So if somebody can get more information, I was watching that, but long before I came to the truth. So there was only one episode where they showed a so-called person in color in the Flintstone, and that was the son of the Japhites. When you go to read about Gog and Magog, not Gog and Magog, it means Gog. Magog means from Gog. It's not Gog and Magog. And in Revelation 20, it says Gog and Magog. It should say Gog, Magog. Gog from Gog. The people up there now, when it says in Ezekiel 38, it's talking about the Russians, but they're not the true sons of Japhet. Those are Edomites, but then you got Jakes among them too. Who founded Russia? Russia is a Hebrew word. Who founded Russia? Israelites, the Scythians. 865 circa AD. So they were never part of the Roman Empire. Nate says, oh, they were Russian and 7 heads, one of them Russian. No, Russia wasn't even around. Got to stop regurgitating, brother, and get into them books and study.
Speakers is. So it's Acts the 17th chapter, all right, beginning about verse.
Oh, the thing about the sons of Athens, they knew that there was a power, but they didn't know his name. They didn't know his name. So they had a placard set up where it says, dedicated to the unknown God. Because they knew in the spirit that there was a higher power than them, but they didn't know his name. And Paul told them his name is Yahweh Shai.
Verse 16. All right, so this is the same thing going all over again.
You got to really read Acts 17, the whole chapter.
All right, the scriptures mention how wisdom crieth without; she uttereth her voice in the chief place of concourse. All right, truly, freedom of speech was created so that the prophets can push the true message of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. That's the reason why freedom of speech was created.
Now let me ask y'all a question. Did not recently, 6 months to a year ago, did not Bow Wow, we call him Bow Wow, Believers of the Way, we call him Bow. Did not they burn a flag, if I'm not mistaken? And we were getting on them about that. Well, if you do that shit now, they grabbing your ass up. They're grabbing your ass up. They're going to take you and that flag. So the scriptures say your speech got to be seasoned with salt. Give me a second. If I'm not mistaken, that's in Ephesians. But let me do this here. You know, if you had a girl that you're dealing with and she put too much salt, you're gonna get mad. I ain't eating this fucking shit. You put too much goddamn salt. Or no salt at all. You gotta season things right. Let me put in season with salt. It should come up. Come on now, come on up. Oh, Colossians, okay. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. Right? So you got to have your speech seasoned with salt. You can't say, if an Israelite say, oh, we're going to burn this place down, we're going to do this, or they out in the rain, you ain't supposed to be going out in the rains with guns. Our messages being conveyed to the masses out there is the scriptures, man. You got a lot of niggas just out there. Put a t-shirt on, throw some fringes on it, get a sign, and all of a sudden you are a overnight Israelite. Got a lot of wayward Negroes out there just doing what they got to do. We out there just to show the Bible. Esau comes up, they ask you questions sincerely, you give them the answers. Y'all gonna learn.
That's the true reason why it was created. The Heavenly Father made them create freedom of speech so that this truth can be prophesied. All right, this is the book of Proverbs, the 9th chapter. in verse 3, it says, she have sent forth her maidens. She crieth upon the highest places of the city. So what is this dealing with ultimately? This is dealing with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. All right? And we have went into the various different places of the city, all right, crying out at the high places, who is simple, let him turn in hither. All right, as for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, come eat of my bread and drink of my wine, which I have mingled. All right, the scripture says that wisdom crieth without. All right, she uttereth her voice in the chief place of concourse. The book of Proverbs 8 and verse 1, doth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? She standeth in the top of the high places, all right, by the way, in the place of the paths. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, all right, at the coming in at the doors. All right, this is the same thing that we're doing now when we go out into these public areas and we prophesy the words of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. All right, and we speak openly too, man. You know, without fear. All right, does not the scripture say that they shall stand in the face of such as have afflicted them? All right, boldly, boldly. So anyways, yeah, freedom of speech was created so that the prophets can push his word. All right, here in Babylon, beginning here in Babylon. All right, and then ultimately throughout the four corners of the earth. Now, when we prophesy, people get roused up. All right, this is also something that was going on in the ancient time. All right, when you go back 2,000 years ago, when they were preaching, riots broke out. When the Apostle Paul taught, riots broke out. All right, when you go into Acts, back in Acts 17 and 6, and when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city, crying, these that have turned the world upside down are come hither also. Because when we preach this word, it incites people. All right, the scripture says that I will give you a mouth of wisdom that none of your adversaries shall be able to gainsay nor resist. So you got people that get intrigued by this and they end up, you know, not following the system. All right, or you get people that get upset and they'll be ready to fight. And then they'll stick around harassing you, kicking the signs, all right, trying to kick you, end up getting into a scuffle, all right, with somebody else there because they're wilding out. All right, the word for turn upside down is.
Check this out. This is amplified. They hate, Amos 5 and 10, they hate the ones who reprimands the unrighteous in the court held at the city gate. That's the agora. That's the marketplace. Because the cities in the ancient world actually had gates. And out there in California, you got a bridge called the Golden Gate Bridge, regarding him as unreasonable and rejecting his reprimand. And they detest him who speaks the truth with integrity and honesty. Even when the needy speak right. Let me go find that. If that's the right way, even when the needy, I hope I'm putting this together, needy let's see what comes up. Let me do it this way. Let me do it this way. All right, let me try it this way. I put a Z instead of a V. Let's see what comes up. Okay, found it. Isaiah 32, verse 7. The instrument also of the troll are evil. He deceiveth. He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor. We're the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. Let's try it in the NLT. I'm sorry, let me do it this way. The smooth tricks of scoundrels are evil. They plot crooked schemes. They lie to convict the poor, even when the cause of the poor is just. So they're going to grab us up, and we're speaking justly. Our speech seasoned with salt. You don't need no loose guns out there, bro. That's why I say with vocab when them Christians roll up, don't pay no mind to them Christians, man. Only way I would pay mind to Christians if they would debate or go into the prophetic books of the Bible, which none of them know. None of them know. Let's move on.
Is anastatu, which is G387, and it says to stir up, excite, unsettle, to excite tumults, all right, and seditions in the states, all right, to upset, unsettle minds by disseminating religious error. So we telling people how they going the hell off and that they're wrong, and they'll get mad at you because you say, well, Edomites can't make it, so-called white people can't make it, they won't be saved. And you get a simple ass Jake that get mad at you, and now they want to fight. You know.
Yeah, Jake gets mad at you because you say Edomites can't make it. They don't care about them not making it. That's the ultimate example of Stockholm syndrome. That's why them ninjas got to go. They got to go. There's nothing you can do with them. There's nothing you can do with them. I can understand vocab fighting for this thing because he looking for a loophole. But you niggas, your ninjas, you got a way to get up in this thing, man. Well, if I can't go if the white man can't go in the kingdom, I ain't gonna go either. Guess what? You're not gonna go. You're gonna come back as a newborn baby. Like Han in Enter the Dragon said, as a baby is born knowing only life. You're gonna know what we tell you as a baby. You're gonna start all over again. You're gonna get left back.
Or you bring out a scripture that cut them to the heart, and now they want to fight. They're upset at you. You might call the cops, or somebody else might call the cops. The cops might, tell that person, look, you got to go. All right, this is the same thing that was happening in the ancient times. All right, it was even so bad at one point that all of the Jews got expelled from Rome. All right, during the time of Emperor Claudius, which will be around 49 through 50 A.D. So during the time of Emperor Claudius, you had the Jews, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi,
and the Christians. He got rid of the It says Jews, but he got rid of the Christian. He didn't like the Christians and the Jews, which are the same people. Christianity wasn't a religion of different nations of people. The Christians back then, 2,000 years ago, were Israelites that accepted the Messiah. Well, no, you got a black guy, he's a Christian. You got a white guy, he's a Chinese guy, he's a no. The Christians in the ancient world 2,000 years ago was of a nation. To qualify to being a Christian, a real Christian, you have to be an Israelite. And really got to be of the elect.
That were expelled from Rome, all right, due to causing disturbances through preaching the word. So they were doing what? They were inciting riots. People were getting stirred up on both sides. The Roman historian Suetonius, all right, as being at the instigation of Christus, all right, which is
Suetonius, the great famous historian, he said he didn't like the Jews and the Christians either. He said I don't like them either, because he pretty much said in not so many words, they think this shit don't stink, because they were telling them what we telling them. They said, look, you're going to be our slaves. We're going to be in the kingdom, and you're going to be our slaves. That's why they call us a hate group, because it's hate when you say you're going to be a slave in the kingdom. That's hate speech. No, it's truth speech. But then even he said what Nero was putting on us. I'm talking about the Nero back 2,000 some odd years ago. He putting so much hell on them Jakes. Even Suetonius said, damn, you're going a little too far. He started feeling bad for him. And look right before you. That's Nero 47 right there. That's Nero. That's Nero. If I was able to see him, I would say, you're Nero coming back. He doesn't know that. Somebody should go up there and tell him that he's Nero coming back. He said he would come back. Look it up. Nero said before he killed himself, he said, I'm coming back. And you had, for about 400, 500 years, you had a bunch of imposters saying, I'm Nero. And people, that's Nero, he came back. The reason why he said he's coming back, because the Most High put it in him to say that, because he's back. Nero 47.
The Greek, Christus is the Latin way of saying Christ, and Christ is the Greek way of saying the anointed, which in the Hebrew will be Mashiach. The event was likely caused by conflicts between Jewish and Jewish Christians within the Roman synagogue over the identity of Yahushua as the Messiah.
Well, that was going on too. Yep. You read Acts, what is that? Acts chapter 4, chapter 13, the whole chapter. Mainly, you can start the 40th verse, but you would want to read that whole chapter.
So the historian Suetonius records, the history that you had Israel.
He's saying Suetonius. I was quoting not Suetonius, but what was the other one? It was another one. You had Suetonius and you had another one. Tacitus. I don't know if that's the same guy spelled differently, but Tacitus, he spoke about Christos.
Israelites that were getting into it, because you had Israelites that believed that Yahushua wasn't the Messiah, and you had Israelites that believed that he was. So the same thing is going on now. And when we teach out there, you get crowds that form around us, especially when it seems like there's something controversial going on. You might be going back and forth with somebody, then you get a crowd, then some people in the crowd might join on their side.
And another thing, a lot of these people, these actors, actresses, these athletes and so forth, they watch all the videos, Israelite, GMS, IUIC, ICBK, and they come across the videos that we put up concerning the mark of the beast. Now, when the mark of the beast or the microchip becomes mandatory, you're going to have a lot of people, you think they don't know where the hell you are. They're going to come up, is that the actual mark? Is that the mark? What do we do? How are we going to eat? They're going to be looking for answers. They're going to be looking for love in all the wrong places. The love is the truth.
All right,
if you're not in the elect, you're not gonna You're going to take it. You are going to take it.
People that's, trying to rebuttal what you're saying, or they might just stand around for a spectacle, or as spectators. So there was a time where our people were kicked out of Rome, Acts 18 and 1 through 2. After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born at Pontus, lately come from Italy, with his wife Priscilla, because Claudius had commanded all of the Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them. So Nero, Emperor Nero, which is Donald Trump, also known AKA the Cruel Lord, him doing away with the freedom of speech. If he's actually gonna do it, because that could have just been some bullshit that he was talking. But at this rate, he might do it, given all of the other things that he's doing at this time. So the fact that he's mentioning no more freedom of speech, well, eventually, if that truly, take place, that will affect this ministry, meaning that we won't be able to do any videos anymore or go out on the street. But we're very close to that time of the work of the prophets being done, being completed. And that brings me to this verse right here in Revelation 11:7. And when they shall have.
That's why you got to study all these videos, watch them over and over again, take notes, eat the roll. You can eat. We're feeding you. That's in Jeremiah 30, verse 15. We're feeding you. So when you fed, you got to get nourished. You got to digest it. So when something happens, it's the scriptures are already in you because you done digested it.
Have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them. So the testimony
that happened back then when we were taken down, when we were in our powers, you had the different prophets cursing people out, cursing kings and kingdoms and so forth. Moses had to set Pharaoh straight. Daniel had to set the king of Babylon straight. So you had prophets curse out kings. Who cursed out King David and King Saul? When the prophet came on the scene, the king jumped back.
When you go into the Greek, is G3141, which is martyria. And it says, a testifying, the office committed to the prophets of testifying concerning future events. So after that 350-year period, of slavery, beginning with Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the prophets woke back up and began to prophesy. And now this word have reached throughout the four corners of the earth, and we're at the point of our testimony being fulfilled. And when this happened, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit, being NATO, EU, and America, will make war against us.
But that already happened, but it's going to happen on a certain level again. So you got to qualify it. That's the time of Jacob's trouble. When we prophesied for that time period, then they took us down. Now we're prophesying again, and they're going to attempt to take us down, but everything's going to happen quick. When you go back and read that, when it says the beast shall come from the bottomless pit, that's talking about Christopher Columbus, or that goes hand in hand with Daniel 7. The saints, they wore out the saints of the Most High. That testimony is the prophets of the old, but it also refers to us now, because we're going to suffer the time of Jacob's trouble. And that's going to be quick too. The chip is going to be in the midst of Jacob's trouble, because there's going to be a lot of trouble, because you're going to have a lot of people that's not going to accept that certain amount of people. You got a lot of Edomites that ain't going to accept it. You got Edomites that know that the MOTB is a micro C hit. So who's going to be your biggest the protesters? The Edomites, man. Jake ain't going to know what the fuck's going on, because they don't know the scriptures. You ever watch the Jeopardy, the game show? Every time they had a category on the scriptures, them Edomites ate them, man. They boom, answered all them questions. But they see the script, they read the scriptures as literature. They don't look at it with a spiritual eye.
All right, bringing about what is known as the time of Jacob's trouble. We're not going to be teaching out there during the time of Jacob's trouble. Jeremiah 30:7, Daniel 12:2, Matthew 24:8, all right, and various other scriptures. One that I'm getting ready to go to will be that of 2nd Ezra.
But we're still teaching, but we're in the time of Jacob's trouble. We're still going to be teaching. It says, how does it say in the scriptures? Somebody help me out. So fine doing. Give me a second. So fine doing. Let's see if I can find it. KJ Fee. Let's see what comes up. Okay, boom. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, so fine doing. So fine doing what? Preaching his word. So there'll probably be a day when we out there teaching on a Saturday or whatever, and shit's gonna happen. Oh shit, the chip is already out there, whatever. People got the chip. Because when the chip becomes mandatory, I believe the destruction and the deliverance and the kingdom's gonna come, or the deliverance and the destruction is gonna come inside of months. It might take 2 weeks to chip everybody. They're gonna do some false flag to make everybody get scared and take it, and this, that, and the other. Niggas missing meals and brothers falling off saying they taking it. Brothers probably gonna take it and still come to camp and not tell you that they took the chip, because their wife let them to take the chip. So when we get beamed up, certain niggas ain't gonna make it because he got the chip. So, I'll say it will be months. Let's say the chip come out January 1st, 2026. We're just giving you a scenario. We should be out of here before the spring. Just giving you a scenario. We don't know the exact time, right? So it said, blessed is that servant. We are the servants whom his Lord, Yahushua, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Doing what? Doing the work. Luke, that's Matthew 24:46. Luke 12:49. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, the word there is kairos, I believe, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Doing what? Doing the work. So we're going to do the work until the missiles come. We'll probably get delivered, if we of the elect. We'll probably be teaching on that day, and we'll get, the ship, there go the ship. Boom, we get up, we get beamed up. So qualify it. Because they did wear out the saints of the Most High, and they're going to wear them out. They're going to attempt to wear them out again. They're going to try to put us back in captivity. That's Revelation 20, verse 7, 8, 9. Matter of fact, let me go to that. Revelation 20. And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loose out of his prison. Now you got Bishop Nathaniel, talking about, oh, we're going to have 1,000 years in the kingdom. And then after that 1,000 years, pursuant to Revelation 20, verse 4, I've been going through this quite a bit. The devil's going to come out of their pit because they're going to be hiding. See, the most, Yahweh Shem Yahushua is not going to get all the Edomites. Some of them are going to hide. And they're going to go into a pit for 1,000 years. And they're going to say, okay, we're going to get them. So Nate, take you to Isaiah 24 and 22, where it speaks about the pit. That don't make that Isaiah 24 and 22 does not go with Revelation 20 verse 7. This is talking about during the time of Christopher Columbus, which this Monday, his so-called birthday's coming up. And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. That's talking about that when the destruction comes. When the Russians attacked this place with missiles. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints. The camp of the saints is the land, what do you call it? The Levant, the Middle East, and the saints. The camp of the saints are also the Israelites. So they're going to be looking to do away with us. That goes hand in hand with Ezekiel 38, which brothers break that down wrong too. So the camp of the saints and the beloved city. The beloved city is the Levant, but it's also the Israelites, starting with the elect. We are also known as the beloved city, or the New Jerusalem. And fire came down from the Most High to heaven and devoured them. Like I said, in that day, Michael shall stand up, the great prince that's standing for the children of his people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was. That's Jacob's trouble. And we're going to be delivered from Jacob in the midst of Jacob's trouble, which is also Esau's trouble. You can call it Esau's trouble because they're going to get caught up in it too. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire. The Most High is not going to pick up Edomites and throw them into a lake of fire. This is poetic for the lake is Babylon, the U.S., and it's going to be hit with missiles. And I ain't talking about, you got people like Nate. He said you're going to be cast into an actual lake of fire, and that's hell, brother. He's an old wine bottle, because he wasn't taught that by the seven. Almost finished.
The 16th chapter, verse 70. All right, which reads this. It says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next city a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, and they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying."
And that's happening. They're busting in Chicago. They went into this building with 100 families up in there and 100 units or whatever the case may be. It was a whole building, 10 stories, 6 stories, whatever. And it was Jake in there and some of the Latin tribes. And they arrested fucking 2-year-old kids, 4-year-old kids, pregnant women, old Jakes with walkers and wheelchairs. And their attitude was like, F them kids. Matter of fact, there's a video right here. This is MSNBC 7 days ago. F them kids. ICE agents drag children out of bed, ransack Chicago's buildings. These red niggas gotta pay. And you got the bishop talking about Deuteronomy 23. Remember Deuteronomy 23 and 7. Don't hate an Edomite. You mean to tell me if they would have went in your house and took your children, you got little children, 2-year-old, 4 years old, they got them in the cold with diapers on? And they got the plastic, what do you call them, riptides or whatever the hell you call them? And you going to love them? You ain't going to love them. That's why we believe this nigga sold out. What happened to Comfy? The Most High took his black ass out because he sold out.
Those that fear the Lord. So they got to know who the men of the Lord is. They got to be keeping tabs. They got to be watching videos. They gotta be keeping a record.
Yes, says shake their hand, exalt the voice that they may go into the gate of the noble. That's the Lord's.
All right, so they're watching. They know your home address, your IP address, all of that. But this comes with the territory. We're not afraid of that. All right, they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. So they got to know where we live at.
You shall own nothing and be happy about it. You shall own nothing and be happy about it.
All right, they're keeping tabs and they're watching.
Gonna be saying, thank you, sir, may I have another.
It says, for they then shall they be known who are my chosen, for they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Time's going to come where they're going to openly condemn us, all right, and try to condemn us unto death, but we're going to be exonerated, all right, through you.
Some of us will be put to death. Revelation 20 verse 4, that refuse the chip. Some of us will get beheaded.
Yahushua, as it is written, there is no condemnation, all right, to them that fear him. Now, the testimony of the prophets, all right, the spirit.
Now, if they have your head on a little chopping block, you be calling on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Have mercy on me, have mercy on my soul, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Remember me in your kingdom. And then that you're gonna hear that slicing sound, you're gonna hear that lever, and then all of a sudden your head gonna roll in that basket. And everybody go, ooh, ooh. But you're gonna go in the spirit world. You're gonna be nervous when you hear that swoosh. You're gonna hear that the metal, you're gonna. But then you're going to be fucked up for a hot second. And they said Paul, in the record, in the history, they said when they chopped his head off, his eyes were open and it rolled. And his eyes saw shit. Because I think your spirit stays in your head even though it's separated from your body. So you're still alive when your head's chopped off. So they said that Paul, he saw shit. When his head was rolling, He looked at people. His eyes were open. He was like looking. But then he went, the Most High took the spirit. Spirit's in your head, man. Right? The windows of your spirit or your soul is your eyes. So some of us will be chopped. It might be me, might be you. But guess what? You be in the spirit world and you good. And then you're going to pray for the rest of them that are down there. So we almost, Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, man. That's why these devils are moving fast. You ones that don't know what's going on, you had your hands in your pocket for years, you're going to get caught out there.
Spirit of Yahushua is the testimony of the prophets. You know? So we're prophesying, man. Jeremiah 28:8, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and evil and of pestilence. That's our office right there.
Yeah, what does it say? The testimony. Let me go to that. Let me just read it. He just quoted it. Okay, it's one chapter back. Testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. Who tested about their faith in Yahushua, worship only the Most High. For the essence of prophecy is to give a clear witness for Yahushua.
All right, but however, Esau is going to try to condemn us. All right, for doing this work of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, and in the event that that happens, all right, it will be what is known as the famine of the word in the book of Amos. All right, the 8th chapter, in verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will send a famine, all right, in the land, not a famine of bread, nor of thirst for water, but of hearing the word of Yahweh. All right, and that time is going to be a state of great perplexity, great confusion. Individuals are going to look for answers, but there ain't going to be none. All right, because the Most High Heavenly Father is going to make the tongue of the prophets cleave into the roof of their mouths. Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter, verse 26. And I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, and thou shalt be dumb, and shalt not be, all right, to them a reprover, for they are a rebellious house. So get ready for that. You better gather up as much as you can right now, because the time is coming where there will be no more freedom of speech, and there will be no more public preaching. There will be no more preaching via, YouTube or other various different platforms. No videos going out. All right, but however, great judgment happening, and people looking for answers. And the only ones that are going to have answers in that day are the ones that fear Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, all right, and that have taken the extra oil in their lamps. So get this truth while you can.
Right. Take the extra oil. I said that yesterday on the video. Because you're going to have the 5 that were wise and 5 that were foolish. The 5 that were foolish took oil, but they didn't take extra oil. The 5 that were wise took extra oil.
Seek the Creator while he may be found. All right. That evil day is fastly approaching. With that, I hope that this was edifying. Until the next time. Shalom.
So that's it. On to the next. Y'all better take this thing serious. We're down to the wire. We're down to the end of this thing. See this dude right here, he gonna take that chip. These motherfuckers gonna take that chip. Some bodybuilding niggas, some Mr. Olympias. Shalom.